Welcome to Blake and Spencer Get Jumped presents the Anime Battle Blog. This is a series all about some of the best fights that we have covered on Blake and Spencer Get Jumped. If you are interested in finding out about this episode or going back to relive some of your favorite moments, feel free to check out our podcast. Link is below. This first episode, we are going to be covering the fight between Spike and Vincent. The fight that is going to be inside of this is from Cowboy Bebop the Movie, and if you would like to watch that, you certainly should. There are going to be some spoilers ahead inside of this fight, and if you are interested in just reliving some of the greatest moments from it, feel free to follow along inside of our episode. The link is below. It's episode 34. Before we get started, I'd like to explain a little bit about this fight. I think that you should see the movie if you want to get full context on it. However, one of the things that I'm going to do here is break down who the characters are in the fight sequence, just so that you have a little bit of background or remembrance of who they are. So, first and foremost, we have the main character of Cowboy Bebop, one of the crew of the Bebop. He is a bounty hunter named Spike, who is born on Mars in June 26 of 2044. This is a future where space travel is happening all the time. People are traveling between these massive things called gates, so they can travel very quickly between different places inside of our solar system. He is 27 years old. He is a super suave bounty hunter who is able to talk his way through a bunch of situations. He is perpetually smoking. He's pretty tall, pretty lanky, and also has one right artificial eye. He can be seen smoking basically wherever he is told not to, and this is from a time period where people were just like, you know what's the best thing to do? Smoke everywhere you are. And we're going to see some of that inside of this fight. If you're wondering what kind of a martial artist he is, it is not 100% clear inside of the show. However, it is mentioned a couple of times that Spike's fights with a fighting martial arts called Jeet Kune Do. Jeet Kune Do, or the way of the intercepting fist in Cantonese, abbreviated as JKD. It is a philosophy of martial arts heavily influenced by the personal philosophy and experiences of the martial artist Bruce Lee. So if you're wondering what he is inspired by, you can thank Bruce Lee, and you can also thank Wing Chun. It's a concept of interception or attacking when one's opponent is about to attack. And Jeet Kune Do, people that fight with this use minimal effort in order to exact maximum damage to their opponent. Spike has been quoted inside of the show as moving like water when he is teaching somebody else to fight, and you are going to be able to see some of that inside of the sequence. The person that he is fighting inside of this is named Vincent. Vincent served in the Titan War. He is super messed up because of it. Vincent, on the other hand, is going to be fighting with a much different style of martial arts. His martial arts is going to be less fluid and more militarized. He is going to be attacking with very much a brute force technique. He lacks some of the finesse and style of Spike, able to move through his sequence of movements like water, and instead comes with hard edges. You'll be able to see that in the style of somebody who would fight with something like Krav Maga, and that is what we are going to be seeing here. Let's begin. All right, so in this very first sequence, we're going to see a very important point going through this fight. When he is getting into a fight, a lot of times in order to give him a less competitive edge, he is going to be injured by his opponent. Spike takes a shot from a gun immediately that is going to put a handicap onto him in this fight. That is very important to remember, that Spike is placed as a character that is remarkable fighting ability. when he is fighting in different parts of the anime, when he is fighting against Vincent, when he is fighting against even Pierre LaFaux, this is important to see with Vincent. Vincent is very strong and a very skilled fighter, but the question would come up with Spike, like, is the only reason that he is not able to keep up with Vincent at all times inside of this fight just because he has that handicap of a shot. It also is important to notice that Spike gets shot, Vincent also gets shot, but Vincent deflects the bullet with his hand, which is placed in front of the barrel of the gun.
Don't tell me the party already started.
No, only just now.
Okay, I love that Spike is just basically dancing back against Vincent, getting prepared to fight like he is a character in Tekken. It's just so great. And then he flies at him with that fury of a kick. It's such a sweet sequence. Okay, so I also need to pause here really quick because this fight is so fantastic for hearing just quickly how beautifully married together the animation style is with the music that is placed inside of the background. It's just fantastic. From this flurry of attacks, you'll be able to see as well that Spike and Vincent are moving very quickly through their sequence of punches, but the amount of hits and parries that happens inside of this fight is just astonishing.
Last time I decided to miss the fatal spot, but just...
Okay. So this is one of the moments where I really noticed the difference between their fighting styles. Spike is, number one, he is dealing with that handicap in the middle of this fight, but his movements are trying to keep up with Vincent's flurry of punches. Spike is not able to keep up with this and thus is put to the ground by Vincent. But the thing that you can really notice inside of the fight as it's moving forward is that Vincent is hitting him with these like very brute, tight to the body punches, where he is pulling his elbows in like a prize boxer or MMA fighter, so that he is able to both go on the offensive and defensive at the same time. Let's roll it back really quick so you can see that sequence again.
Last time I decided to miss the fatal spot, but just...
So, as you can see there, Spike is moving with these kind of grandiose style movements. One of the things he's doing is he comes in with that kick, and then as that kick is coming across, his right fist is following so that he can catch Vincent off guard. Because Vincent is keeping tight and ready to defend and attack at the same time, he is able to catch those, start to parry them, take blows where he can, and then as soon as Spike leaves an opening, he hits him with a couple of quick jabs and then a super powerful punch to the gut.
Barely, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got an eye for detail, don't you, Vincent?
Notice inside of this fight sequence as well, and I'm going to rewind this back again really quick. Look at their body stances as they are coming at each other. Spike is low and fluid while Vincent is up and rigid. You can see this if you're looking at different fight sequences with boxers where they're going to keep up and tight so that they can make sure that their elbows are in and protecting both the face and the body, prepared to take blows on the outside so that they can protect the vital spots. So now we're going to see where Spike is starting to really take over inside of this fight. And one of the reasons he is starting to take over inside of this fight is because he is not afraid to attack inside of that more fluid style. Because Vincent is trying to keep it up and tight, Spike starts to find his different openings. And the way that he is doing this is by giving space and then coming with just that flurry of kicks. There's also that fantastic moment where he not only catches him with a kick up towards his face. Vincent, because he's keeping that up and tight, he has to devote himself to block that vital point of his head from taking a direct blow from a kick, and that leaves his leg open for that sweep. And the only reason that Spike is able to be taken out of this sequence is because Vincent is going to take control of his handicap that Spike has. He's going to grab him by that open wound from the gunshot and force Spike to really feel his pain inside of this moment. I know we're about to get to another fantastic moment, but really quick, can we just all enjoy here as well? I love it when people inside of fights show people are trying to survive, will not just sit there and take being held down to the ground. I'd seen so many anime fights where they're just like, oh, he has me by the ropes and thinking what I might be able to do. No, Spike doesn't do that. Spike is just like, my elbow's free, great. I'm just going to hit him in the face as many times as possible. I see that so many times in movies where people are just being like, I'm being choked to death. And I'm like, if you were being choked to death and somebody's face was right next to your face and your hands are not being held down, why the hell wouldn't you just, take your thumbs and just go eye gouging? I'm just saying.
You came here thinking you would save the world, but it's too late.
Sorry, but I'm just a bounty hunter. I don't really give a damn what happens to the world. It's all the same to me. I just came here to pay back the favor I owe ya.
You think it's just a threat, don't you? But I will do it.
Go ahead.
No, this is the reason why I picked this fight. Watch first. Okay. So really quick, there are just so many things to break down inside of this fight. First and foremost, Spike is using all of his weight in order to get in a very, very devastating blow first and foremost on Vincent. He brings down both hands straight onto Vincent. The next sequence inside of the fight is very, very telling. Spike and Vincent grapple for a moment, bringing Vincent's arms out. Because Vincent's arms are out, he is at a very different fight range for Spike, and therefore he has to go on the offensive immediately in order to not be just completely open. Spike understands this. Spike is going to catch him off guard and start using his momentum against him, which is exactly what his fighting style is meant to do. He both takes one of his hits, then spins him off with one of those. He then kicks up into him. When he catches the blow under his arm, he uses, because he is held inside of that, to throw his own body weight inside of being held inside of his arm so that he can give a devastating round of a kick to a face. That is why Spike and Vincent fighting is so fantastic, and one of the things that I wanted to cover first and foremost. There's going to be a lot more fights that I go over inside of this that I love, and there's a lot of really fantastic. I have an incredible amount of superpowers sort of fights, but this one is just something that is based not only in fantastic animation, fantastic music, but also it just gives you a great glimpse into what happens when real animators, real creators meet a animation and fight style that they want to cover and they really, really want to delve deep into. I spent some quality time to see if I could find some of these exact attacks used inside of different martial arts tournaments, in different martial arts movies, in different breakdowns of martial arts sequences. And there are a lot of these sequences that you can find online with real people doing them. And because of that, because of the marriage of something that is a real, a real fighting style that you could see in real life and fantastic animation, this should definitely, if I see another top 10 anime fights that does not mention this anime fight, it's going to make me sick. It's just so frustrating to see that not everybody is putting this higher up on the list. Anyways, rant over. Let me step off my soapbox really quick. And if you want to watch it, definitely watch this. Again, if you want to hear a quick breakdown of this, we have an episode. The link is below. And thanks for joining in on our Anime Battle Blog episode 1.